What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jordan and today we're going to be starting the process of tearing down the N42 head that I just bought and eventually we'll be building. We're going to tear it down, clean it up, and get it ready for porting. So let's get started. Now when I bought this head, it didn't come with the cam towers or much anything else except for the valves and the springs related, and obviously the valves are in there on the other side. But the first thing that we need to do before we clean this guy is remove the valves and the valve springs. I got this on Amazon. I've never actually used one before, but it was pretty cheap. I think it was like 30 bucks. I'll put a link to it down below. But what this is gonna do is it's gonna help us grab on to the springs with those, compress it with this plunger here, and then remove what I think is a couple C-clips right here, and then we'll just be able to slide out the valves. Once you get it compressed enough, you'll see these little C-clip looking things in here. They're called valve keepers. And it's basically like thick, really thick C-clamp or C-clip kind of things. And you just fish them out. And then once they're fished out and they fall out, then you can pull out the valves. So be careful. Just to give you an idea, the valve keepers are basically like a thick C-clip. It has a little lip on it, and it has like a pressure seal on the top of the valve, which holds it in. And then there's, I think this is called a valve hat. I don't really know. I'm learning as I go, just like you guys. But here's our two springs. I actually don't know if I'm gonna keep the same valve train. I'm probably gonna buy a new valve train. So I'm not too worried about these getting damaged, but one down and 11 to go. All the valve train is out, which I'm excited about, but I probably should have told you to wear gloves. I got a little cut, you know, got to be smart. I probably should have worn some glasses as well. But now we're just gonna pull out the valve seals, which are these little rubber things, and they just literally come off. We're not looking to protect these because these are cheap to replace, so you can just yank on them, they'll come off. I already did it with this one. So I'm gonna pull all of these off and then keep going. Now to the next step in the process is cleaning. So this head is obviously super dirty, and I bagged and tagged all the individual cylinders and valve train. Actually, I found that cylinder 2 has a bent valve. This one is a little bit bent, so clearly some trauma to this head at some point. So I saw online that this stuff is really good for cleaning engine stuff. So my bad, I messed up a little bit. This stuff, Super Clean, is really only meant for steel parts, and we are cleaning an aluminum head, so you have to be very careful. If you soak aluminum head in this, it actually will damage it in the long run. So I went back to the store and got some simplegreen HD Pro, the purple bottle, and this stuff is meant for aluminum. They actually sell it at aircraft stores, so if it's good enough to clean aluminum on an aircraft, it's good enough for the Datsun. I also got a brass brush for the intake and exhaust runners. This will be gentle enough on aluminum and help us get rid of any carbon buildup, and just like a nylon brush that I'm going to use to, you know, clean things up. So the game plan is to fill this about halfway up with water, dump the gallon jug in here, and let the head soak 1/2 at a time for about 6 hours in total, and we'll see how it turns out after 6 hours. And there we go. So now the head is having a spa day in a 5-to-1 water to cleaner ratio. And it seems like it's already working, which is pretty cool. So let's let it soak for 6 hours and see how it turns out. All right, guys, so 8 hours has passed and I gave it a little flip. This was the part that was underneath the solution, and this was the line above the solution. And all I did was just rub it down with this brush for a few minutes, and it is looking incredible. This stuff seems to be working really well. It suds up really nice, which is kind of annoying when you're trying to clean it. But no weird smells. I've touched it with my hands so far, no burning or anything crazy like that. And I'm super impressed. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep scrubbing this down as much as I can, and then we're gonna flip it over on this dirty side overnight, and then tomorrow we'll see the final result. Before the second soak, I really went to town scrubbing this thing down as much as I possibly could, and I ended up soaking and scrubbing a lot more than I originally anticipated. In total, I soaked the head for about 36 hours before my OCD let me call it quits, and I ended up using a couple different brass brushes to get in the tough spots and Scotch-Brite pads to remove the gaskets. I think in the long run, the car is going to appreciate that I did this myself, and hopefully it makes it run just a little bit better. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see about that. Last, I gave it a good power washing to blast away some of the tough spots, and I dried it off and used some WD-40 on the steel parts of the head to make sure that it wouldn't rust. Things like the valve seats and some of the other parts and plugs on the head. But I think the results speak for themselves, and this turned out really awesome. Next time, I'm going to be doing a DIY port job on this head. On the intake and exhaust ports, we're going to widen them a bit and make things run a little bit smoother. So if you want to see that, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And otherwise, guys, we'll see you next time.